Deep in the heart of the borderlands between Scotland and England, among the ruins of ancient castles and forgotten fortresses, there lurk creatures of terrifying legend. Known as Redcaps, these malevolent goblins are not just tricksters, but bloodthirsty hunters who have haunted folklore for centuries. Stories of these sinister beings have been passed down through generations, painting a picture of a dark and dangerous presence tied to this historically violent region. The borderlands have long been a place of conflict, with countless battles fought over its rugged terrain. These lands were home to not only armies and raiders, but something far more sinister. Redcaps are said to inhabit the decaying remnants of castles, waiting for unsuspecting travelers who seek shelter within their crumbling walls. Before we continue, consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. We're new here on YouTube, but we'll be bringing you many more stories like this in the future. Thank you. So, what exactly are Redcaps? These creatures are described as a particularly fearsome type of goblin found in the folklore of northern England and southern Scotland. Unlike many other goblins or trickster spirits, Redcaps are not mischievous, no, they are murderous. They take their name from their most horrifying trait, the blood-soaked cap they wear on their heads. Legends say these caps are stained with the blood of their victims, and if the blood were to dry, the Redcap would perish. Physically, Redcaps are said to be small in stature, resembling stout, elderly men. But don't let their size fool you. They are far from harmless. With fiery red eyes, sharp teeth, and long claw-like fingers, they strike fear into anyone unlucky enough to cross their path. They move quickly, despite the heavy iron boots they wear, which adds to their terrifying ability to chase down prey. These goblins are known to haunt the ruins of castles, especially those with a history of violence or tyranny. Travelers who seek shelter in these forgotten fortresses are the Redcaps' perfect targets. Armed with iron pikes or scythes, these creatures attack swiftly, leaving little chance for escape. The stone walls of these ancient ruins serve not as protection, but as the very lairs where Redcaps await their next victim. The tales often describe how these goblins ambush unsuspecting travelers, using their immense strength to hurl heavy stones from high walls, or running their victims through with iron pikes. Once their prey is slain, the Redcaps would soak their caps in fresh blood to ensure they never dry out. The drying of the blood, it is said, would mean their own death. These stories reflect the violent history of the region, where wars, raids, and feuds were common. For those travelling through the area, the Redcap legend acted as both a supernatural warning and a cautionary tale, urging them to stay away from lonely, abandoned places where danger of both man and goblin might be lurking. While Redcaps are fearsome and deadly, folklore offers a few ways to defend yourself if you ever find yourself face to face with one. These goblins, though fast and powerful, can be driven away by the power of faith. The most common defense is to recite passages from the Bible. Even a single verse can send a Redcap fleeing in fear. Alternatively, holding up a cross or crucifix is said to be equally effective, forcing the creature to retreat. If you're successful in warding one off, the Redcap doesn't simply vanish. According to legend, it disappears with a furious scream, often in a burst of flames. All that remains afterward is a single, large tooth, left behind as a grim reminder of how close you came to meeting your end. But beware, this is no easy feat, and it's always better to avoid these goblins altogether if you can. Among the many tales of Redcaps, one of the most infamous is the story of Lord William de Soulis and his sinister familiar Robin Redcap. Lord Soulis was no ordinary noble. He was known for his dark practices, dabbling in sorcery and black magic. His castle, Hermitage Castle in Scotland, became the centre of eerie legends, where locals spoke of strange occurrences and whispered rumours of his evil deeds. According to legend, Lord Soulis summoned Robin Redcap to be his personal servant, a powerful and malevolent goblin who aided him in his cruel and violent reign. Robin was feared throughout the land, and with his help, Soulis became nearly invincible. It was said that Robin Redcap had cast a spell on his master, making him immune to weapons of iron and steel. Arrows, swords, and lances were useless against him, and even hanging could not kill him. With such protections in place, Soulis grew bolder in his tyranny, unleashing terror on those living under his rule. But the legend doesn't end there. Eventually, the people had enough of Lord Soulis's reign of terror. They rose up in rebellion, determined to end his life once and for all. With no traditional weapon able to harm him, they turned to an ancient method. The local villagers dragged Soulis to the nearby stone circle of Ninstane Rig, where they executed him in the most gruesome way by boiling him alive in a cauldron of molten lead. While the legend paints a fantastical picture of dark magic and brutal revenge, history tells a different story. Lord Soulis was indeed real, but rather than meeting a supernatural end, he was arrested for treason after plotting against King Robert the Bruce. He died in prison, far from the boiling cauldron of the legend. While the bloodthirsty Redcap of the Borderlands is the most well-known version of this creature, variations of the legend exist across different regions. In some parts of Scotland, particularly in Perthshire, there's a surprising twist to the story. Instead of terrorising travellers, a local Redcap at Grantley Castle is said to bring good fortune to those who see him. This version of the Redcap is a far cry from the vicious goblin we've come to know. Similarly, the folklore of the borders mentions creatures that resemble redcaps, but with slightly different traits. The Dunter and the Powery, for instance, are spirits that haunt the same kinds of ruins. Rather than attacking their victims, they make ominous noises like grinding stones, and hearing these sounds is believed to be an omen of death or misfortune. These variations show how folklore evolves with time and place, each region adding its own spin to the myth. The legend of the Redcap is a chilling reminder of the rich and often terrifying folklore that has shaped the stories of the British Isles. Whether they are portrayed as violent goblins soaking their caps in blood, or as dark spirits haunting forgotten ruins, Redcaps represent the fear of the unknown and the dangers that lurk in desolate places. Though reports of Redcap sightings have faded with time, their legend endures. But remember, these stories were more than just entertainment. They served as cautionary tales for those travelling alone through remote landscapes. And while the castles where Redcaps were said to live now lie in ruins, their sinister presence remains a part of local folklore. So, the next time you find yourself near an ancient, crumbling tower, take care. Whether it's the echo of footsteps behind you or a distant flash of red in the shadows, the legend of the Redcap reminds us that some stories, no matter how old, still carry a sense of danger. After all, you never know what might be waiting in the darkness. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to The White Light. It really helps. Stay tuned for more stories like this in the near future, and check out our other videos if you have time. Until we meet again.